Good morning, everyone. Thanks all for being here. Today, we're going to talk about something that most of us struggle with. How do you deliver truly personalized experiences at scale without hiring any army of content marketeers? And the title says is all, the audience of one. How can we get to the point that every person in your database actually feels like you're talking directly to them? And the question is, how do we make that happen? I'll share a real case, real framework, and some real numbers. No theory or not too much theory, just the things that we've seen working um, at IO in the past. Uh, some quick information up front. At IO, we are a leading digital agency that brings talent together in marketing, technology, content strategy, creativity, and data. And this is exactly what the audience of one is built upon. And we help brands to gather the right experiences or bring the right experiences to their audience. A little bit of myself. I'm strategy director automation at IO. Also lead the HubSpot practice at IO. Been doing this for 15 years or over 15 years. So lots of experience in CRM strategy, in automation, in revenue operations. I love B2B, but I have lots of B2C backgrounds in some of the nicest brands around, like Jupiler, Duvel, or Feyenoord. Some more info about IO before we start. We have over 2,000 experts in the company, 12 offices in 5 countries, and we deliver over 100 core services to our clients. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat or in the Q&A. I will get them or I will answer them at the end of the webinar, and there's room for some Q&A. The recording will be shared via email. If you want the slides, send me an email or a direct message on LinkedIn, and we'll get them over to you as well. Quick information on what we're covering today. We'll start with real client brief, a challenge that probably sounds familiar to many of you. We'll take a look at why personalization matters and where most companies fall short. I'll quickly walk you through the 3 main barriers that block real personalization. I'll introduce our zero touch model, which is a framework that we tried and tested at multiple clients before. And then we'll look at the proof, actual results. Finally, we'll share what we've learned along the way, including the mistakes, because, of course, there are always mistakes. Let's start with the brief first, because every great project, of course, starts with a challenge, and this one was a pretty big challenge. Literally, client said, we send out approximately 5 million emails per month, very broad target audience, basically everyone from the ages 18 to 75, dozens of brands, a whole lot of products in 18 different countries and languages. Okay, fine. Lots of content, but how do we streamline this so that not everyone receives the same content, or not even, or we even deliver more than 5 different variations, and we don't need 100 specific content marketeers. Let those numbers sink in for a moment. 5 million emails a month in 18 countries and languages, with over from what I remember, 25 to 30 brands and products. If you do the math, that's quickly over 1,500 content variations needed for this campaign alone, for one campaign alone. Does it sound familiar? To some, it might. To others, it might be way more than expected. But the basis of it all is that maybe even, or maybe not at this scale, the underlying problem is the same in a lot of organizations. You want to personalize, but the complexity of personalization explodes, not only from a time perspective, but also from a monetary perspective and a people perspective. 6 months later, this is what happens. We implemented a model that I'm about to show you, and these were the results. The click-through of the campaign increased by 41%. The campaign production time went down 60%. So even if we delivered more variations for one campaign, the campaign production time went down. And the cost per campaign went down. So that was a massive efficiency gain. And these aren't projections. These are actual numbers from a live implementation. Now, what's even more interesting, we have 100% one-to-one personalization. Every message that is sent out is unique, and there are no manual limits to the campaign variants. If you want 1,000 variants, it'll get 1,000 variants. If you want 5 million variants, it's technically possible to get 5 million variants done in the system. And we added one FTE to the company. That's it. This isn't a thing about throwing more people at the same problem. It's not about giving more monetary resources to the team to get this done. It's about building a better system. Personalization isn't optional anymore. It's the new minimum, and it's critical in everything you do as a company. Why did that question come? Why is personalization so important? Because we, as people, we've changed over the years. We've changed a lot over the course of evolution, but the last 5 to 10 years in digital have heavily changed the way we behave, the way we consume communication. And Netflix is one of those reasons. Our expectations have shifted dramatically because if every time we open Netflix, the homepage is completely different from what anyone else sees. And the thumbnails are different, the recommendations are different, even the order of the rows is personalized based on what Netflix knows about you or knows about, in my case, my wife, because row one is clearly my wife's interests and rows two and three are clearly my interests. So don't share your account with your wife if you want to keep the personalization tied to yourself. The same goes for Spotify. Your Discover Weekly, your daily mixes, your recommended playlists, all of them are tailored to your listening behavior. The algorithm knows what you like, it knows what you skip, what time of day you listen to certain genres, and it uses all of that to serve you content that feels handpicked. It's not, of course, but it feels like that. My Spotify, luckily, hasn't been invaded by my wife or my kids. Thank God for that. And one of the apps that we all spend the most time on is Zalando. It's the same thing. Everything that is on your homepage, everything that you see on your Zalando website, it all changes based on your behavior. About it changes based on what you browse and what you visit. And here's the reality. On average, anytime, any device, the average human spends about 5 hours a day on a screen. Most of it personalized. Netflix feeds, Spotify Discover Weeklies, Instagram Explore, whatever social media you use, whatever website you use where you're logged in, they're all tailored. So when your customers open an email from you or visit your website, they're not comparing you to your competitors. They compare you to the experience that you get from Netflix, from Spotify. That's the benchmark now. Even if they're in a completely different vertical, a completely different size of company, because 5 hours a day, the average human is open to that heavily personalized experience everywhere on the internet, everywhere in their communications. They also expect that from you. And that's the benchmark. To prove that, numbers don't lie. On average, in B2B, if you personalize experiences throughout the buyer journey, order value is about 40% higher. Revenue is higher, and customer satisfaction is about 20% higher as well. Customer acquisition costs to make the same amount of money if you personalize are about 50% lower. The same goes for B2C. If we take a look at the data, 80% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands that personalize. If you personalize CTAs, conversion rates are 3 times higher. And this is a stat from HubSpot where they really focus on as well. And 71% of consumers expect personalization and get frustrated without it. If McKinsey says it, it's probably well researched. And the data backs up all of these things. Personalization no longer is a nice to have, it's a business imperative because people get frustrated if they don't find personalization. And if we take a look at it, the most simple personalization there is, and the one that we almost all of us use, the hi Stephen or the hi first name, it isn't enough anymore. Personalization in 2026 is no more about inserting a first name into an email. It's not personalization. That was 2010. Now, personalization means understanding intent, understanding context and timing across every channel in real time. And if all you're doing is hi first name, you're already behind. That's as an introduction. So, what do customers actually expect from us? Let me break it down into four things. One, first thing, and that's the most important thing, is relevance. Consumers want content that matches their interest. They want stuff that matches what they do, what they like, what they need. They don't want to be open to your campaign calendar. That is not the guiding principle in their lives. You still need a campaign calendar, of course, and you still have your seasonal campaigns. It's important, but even those things can be personalized. They don't care that you have a promotion this week if it's not a relevant promotion for them. They care about the relevance of your offerings to their needs and to their requirements. The second thing that customers expect is the right timing, perfect timing. Reach them when they're ready, not when your automation flow fires up. Just because someone enters an automation workflow doesn't mean it's the right moment. Timing matters. Make sure that you send it out at the right time. As an example, we've done this in the past for a company that sells electrical appliances for your kitchen. There's no use in sending out um, emails with recipes or how your oven works or how you can use the AI functions in your oven when people are at work. Make sure that you send it at the right time because your engagement numbers, your content consumption is going to be a lot higher. Customers also expect channel consistency. The same experience, whether they open an email, visit the website, see an ad, use an app, whatever. If your website says one thing and your email says another thing, you've lost credibility. If you only personalize in the app or with advertising and no longer when they come to the website or no longer when they receive an email, it breaks the experience. It breaks the trust in that personalization as well. And the last thing, or the last one in this row, is recognition. Remember who your customers or prospects are. Remember what they bought. Remember what they care about. If you capture the relevance, if you capture the perfect timing, use it. Keep using it. Save it. Store it for later. Because nothing kills trust faster than asking someone for information they've already given you. We all know the hey, this might be interesting for you product emails after you've already bought that same product. It's unprofessional and it breaks the relationship. That is what most customers actually get issues in the way it's set up because someone forgot to fill in a field or someone did a bad job in creating that email or thanks for joining. And this is an email that I received, both emails. I received one from Jack in the Box and the other from the Hilton Honors, where someone said, thanks for joining Hilton Honors, Stephen Holland House, Panama. That's not my name. It's the name of the hotel. It's an issue with your data. And these aren't rare edge cases. This is what happens when personalization is bolted onto existing campaigns instead of built in from the start. So, why does personalization fail? Why does this keep happening? Let me show you something. Let me show you the gap between promise and reality. We'll personalize everything. That's nice. That's the goal. 10 segments, 5 languages, 4 channels, 200 variants per campaign, or variants. I'm sorry, my English is not always up to par. 200 variants per campaign takes a lot of time and money. Oh, no worries. Uh, we don't have anyone who can create that. AI will do it. Okay, fine. Average company has 6 to 8 AI tools that are disconnected. They don't talk to each other. How are you going to use the right personalization if one tool manages the personalization, another the content creation, another uses the email builder, and they're not connected? It just doesn't work. Just use the CRM data. Fine. That's nice. Same thing here. Your customer data lives in 5+ systems on average. A lot of companies don't have a shared data lake where everything is connected together. Easy. Buy a better platform. Fine. Again, you can buy a car. If you don't have a driving license, you're not getting anywhere. Platforms don't solve architecture problems. Platforms, buying a new platform doesn't fix the issues you have in processes, in people. Oh, we'll hire more people. Yeah, fine. The best one. Content teams cost a lot of money, and the costs scale linearly while the requirements scale exponentially. And that basically sums this up. Relevance, personalization, and consistency across the entire journey do not seem feasible with the resources available. It's not something that I'm saying, it's something that we hear at our clients. And they're right. With traditional approaches, full scale personalization is either unreachable or very, very, very costly. So, where do we start? Where do you even start? Before we fix personalization, you need to understand where you are today. And that is often done, like in this case, with a maturity model. We have the maturity model with 5 levels. Where are you on that maturity level? The basic level 1, it's basic conversion rate optimization, A/B testing, buttons and headlines, um, tinkering with colors, tinkering with small headline changes. This is where most SME companies already are. This is the basic. Level 2 is experiments. If you are in segment X, I'll show you X. If you're in segment Y, I'll show you Y. You've bought running shoes before. This is what the website will look like in the future. Level 3, it's continuous. And this is already a very good status to be in. It means that you're in real time adapting your communication based on behavior. You visited these and these and these pages, fine, this changes. You have this in your basket, this and this changes. We've had conversation X with you a while ago. This is how our communication changes. Already very, very far up in that program, but also still very, very far away from that top level personalization. Level 4 is where it often breaks in a lot of companies, and that is the cross channel. We talked before that consistency is key. Having the same personalization everywhere, being consistent with your personalization across touch points is an essential part to really nail this topic. And level 4 is already something that for a lot of companies is very difficult to reach. Level 5 is the one-to-one approach, where every message is unique per person. This is where Netflix and Spotify operate. Uh, Most companies sit at level 1 or 2. If you've already invested in personalization, you might be at level 3. Level 4, that's a big step. And level 5, we all have the feeling, oh, we all feel that this is only for the largest companies in the world. It is reachable. Level 5 is reachable, but you can't jump there overnight. It takes time. Let's just do a quick test for yourselves. Uh, If you personalize beyond the first name, so more than just hi Steven in your communication, you're already at level 1 plus. You're already doing a lot better than a lot of companies, especially in an SME market. If you have segment based rules, the you build lists in your automation platform and your emails differ based on those segments, or the content of your website changes based on those segments, you're already at level 2. Does the personalization update in real time? I do something on your website right now. 3 hours later, I get an email and it's already adapted. You're already at level 3. You're already doing better than 80 to 90% of most companies. Is it consistent across all channel? You're at level 4. You don't have a lot to learn anymore from me in this. And level 5, is every touch point unique per person? Yeah, well, that is the holy grail. That's where we're looking to go to. Every touch point unique per person. We're not talking about reaching 10 people. We're reaching about thousands, tens, thousands, hundreds, even millions of people in your database. Be honest with yourself, where you are, and that is the starting point of what's to come next. The big difference is, or the big thing that we need to talk about is, the gap between level 1 and level 5 is widening, not closing. And that's an uncomfortable truth, because the gap between bad scripted personalization at level 1 and well executed relevant personalization is growing every day. And that is often because of AI. Companies think they can fix personalization issues with AI. AI alone won't solve it. Not without the right architecture. Every AI tool you add without strategy is making things worse. They don't talk to each other. They hallucinate. They have very limited data. It's not up to date. These are things that block personalization. And there's barriers, three barriers in most organizations that actually block personalization in a very big way. The first one is data silos. Barrier number one. Your data is everywhere. It's in HubSpot, it's in Google Analytics, it's in your SAP, it's in your PIM system, it's in Hotjar, it's in some part of it is in a data lake. You have a nice BigQuery environment, but it's not all. All of these logos, this is the reality for most organizations. But your customer is just one person. They don't care about your internal systems. They expect you to know them. And the problem with this, if you have all of these tools and they're not connected, they're still in data silos. The result is that you have 5 partial profiles across all of these systems and 0 complete profiles. No single view of the customer. Because every team, whether it's your sales team, your marketing team, your customer service team, your people in your stores, they see a fragment of that profile. And you can't personalize what you can't see, and you can't personalize on what you can't see. If you take a look at the right, this is what a unified architecture could look like. You have anonymous visitors identified by a user identification system, known visitors by their email. They all flow into a CDP. Whether I click something on Facebook, whether I open an email, whether I subscribe to something, it's all connected. One CDP, centralized data platform, connected to a personalization engine that is also connected to the product database. And this feeds back into all of your channels, meaning that if I visit your website, if I get an email, if I take a look at an advertising piece, it's all personalized. And this is what we need to build. Maybe not to that extent, not at that complexity, but we need to make sure that the data we capture is all collected somewhere and aggregated into one profile per customer. Not in five partial ones, but one complete profile. The second barrier, I'm just going to take a quick sip. The second barrier is AI. AI, you don't have an AI problem. You have an AI orchestration problem. In a lot of companies, we see they have ChatGPT, they have Copilots, they have Gemini, they use specific AI from their content tools from within their CRM, like Agentforce in Salesforce or Breeze in HubSpot. Their CDP, their ERP, they all have specific AI toolings. They're all making decisions, but they're not coordinated. Your CRM AI doesn't talk to your ChatGPT. It doesn't talk to the AI that's creating your content. It doesn't know all of these things. uh, And this is what it looks like. Someone reads a blog about product X, fine. It's somewhere in your CMS or it's somewhere in your Google Analytics, and the AI has seen it and says, okay, there's product interest. Next day, they open an email. Your automation platform or your email AI notes, okay, fine, they engaged with this product. Then you have a sales call. Again, mention product X. Same customer, three AIs, three different directions, nobody aligned. AI amplifies chaos instead of reducing it, unless you orchestrate it. So that's barrier two. First, we had data silos. Second, we have AI chaos. The third barrier is that your content doesn't scale. And hiring more people is not the option or is not the answer. Two campaigns, five segments, two languages, four channels is 80 different variations. Four times 12, eight languages, six channels, we're looking at 2,300 plus. If your current team outputs 100 assets a month and your personalization needs 1,600 assets a month, then you have a 16x capacity gap. It's not going to solve it. This is the real problem. If you want to close the gap, you need to hire 15 plus additional content marketeers. Think about €1 million in cost per year extra. You need to train them. It is the Another issue is that people work in a linear way. If you have two times the amount of people, you have two times the amount of output. But if you have two extra segments, it's 4x the variance. So your people are linear and your requirements are exponential. And you cannot hire your way out of an exponential complexity. It's just mathematically impossible. It's not a sustainable model. And that is why we've come up with a system, the zero touch model. Not just tools, but zero touch personalization model. And it's built on a framework. It's a 5-step framework to basically move from basic segmentation to true one-to-one communication without scaling headcount. We unify. We have one customer, one profile. We score. We turn data into signals. We orchestrate. We route the right AI for the right task. Then we generate. We create content at scale. And we learn, improving continuously on all the other things that we come up. Let me walk you through each step individually. And the first step is unify. We've talked about this a little before in this presentation. It's about breaking down data silos across your organization. It's about connecting different touch points to a single customer identity. It's whether it's in a centralized CRM where data comes in, whether it's in a data lake or a customer data platform, it doesn't matter as long as you connect them towards each other. How can we bring in anonymous visitors via cookie tracking or something like that? How can we connect them to known visitors? How can we connect everything together to have a foundation for everything else in the model. Everything else in the model depends on this right here. If you don't get this right, don't even bother with all the rest of the steps. You're never going to reach even basic personalization if you don't have unified customer profiles. The second step is scoring. It's about turning raw data into actionable signals, not just who they are, but what do they need right now? It's about real time persona updates based on behavior. It's about tracking whatever they do. It's about scoring that engagement. It's about looking at intent signals, page visits, intros, even things that you can find on LinkedIn, for instance. It's about knowing where they are in their buying journey because that changes the way you communicate. And the goal is to move away from static segments, a list that I compile now and that remains the same, to dynamic living personas that update in real time. If I change something now, my persona instantly changes as well. Third step is orchestration. It's not about using AI, but it's about routing the right AI to the right task via centralized AI layer, not tool chaos, and see that centralized AI layer as a project manager that connects all of the dots and says, you're best suited to do this task. Okay, I'm going to give you that task. If that's completed, I take the output and I give that to someone else to further work on that task. It should be vendor independent. It should be compliant. It should be safe. We use something called an MCP architecture, Model Context Protocol. It allows AI assistants, agents, tool to all be coordinated from one place in a GDPR-proof manner because it's installed on your own servers. This is what it looks like. It's the AI orchestration layer sits between your systems and your touch points. You own it, you control it, and it connects all of your output channels that are also your input channels in most cases, website, email, social ads, to all the AI systems that you have, whether it's something in your e-commerce system, in your CRM, in your marketing automation platform. So basically, you work via the orchestration layer, get the insights from all the separate AI tools, but they all work together like one big AI team. If we have that, we can go to and quickly. This should not be learned, of course. This should be generate. Um, my apologies. And this is where the AI does the heavy lifting. Because what does AI handle in this? We give it a campaign briefing. We give it a campaign briefing by segment and persona, or just if the system is very well set up, just a briefing. It's going to adapt the content to the brand voice. And we train it on our own style guide. It's going to adapt it to the persona voice. Which tone are we using? Which formality? Which focus? How does it match with the product that we're trying to sell? I mean, we're not going to be communicating the same way to a 25-year-old. Now we're going to communicate to a 50-year-old. Even if they're young at heart, the way of communication, the way they handle communication and they consume communication is different way. The AI helps us to generate unlimited test variations. It helps us to translate, to localize automatically based on a set of guidelines that we give it to them. No longer having to use um, a whole room of external translators to do that. And the best thing is, instead of just delivering text, we can also output structured content ready for HTML, for instance. And it can output HTML based on the information that we've given it and inject it directly into your email tool or into your automation platform. The most important thing here is that um, if we want to learn from this, from that generation point, there's two things. And we have things that AI handles, and that's what we just discussed, but the human remains in control. Brand voice definitions Guardrails, all of these things need to be put in by a human once, for starters, and then based on the output that we get from the system, we can expand on that. If it's very important content, high stakes content, we have approval workflows. In theory, we're never going to send out something that is not validated by a human. Um, we do checks. We have systems in place to be able to get out certain words or certain phrases or certain contents as well. And we do, of course, have final Q&A on those critical campaigns, because zero touch doesn't mean zero humans. It means humans do the thinking, AI does the doing. So the grunt work is performed by the AI, but the strategizing, the quality assurance, the final say in it is always going to be a human thing. Again, there is something wrong with my presentation. This is not unify, of course. This is learn. I'll make sure that we fix this. Um, the feedback comes in, and it helps us to do better. If we get campaign metrics from HubSpot, for instance, okay, fine. We know which content performs for which persona. The engagement patterns, we can score the adjustments per contact. We learn from it. Conversion data, what drives revenue? Yes or no? Again, this is why it's important to have your systems connected. You cannot have conversion data on what actually drives revenue if your CRM isn't connected, if your order system isn't connected, if your quotation tools aren't connected, for instance. And all of these things flow together in content performance, and these will deliver recommendations for our next campaign. Yes, we are still analyzing the campaigns ourselves, and we are feeding that results of that analysis into the AI. But the AI is also doing machine learning. It improves itself with every touch point, and that way we learn. We make sure that we do even better. The loop closes, and the system gets smarter over time. I promised you proof. Here it is. Let me show you this in action. Real implementation, real numbers. We've had a question from a leading European manufacturer in B2B, who wanted to launch a new B2B inspiration platform with a goal of maximizing lead generation, deepen the data on the existing database, and personalize without scaling headcount too much. Mm. The audience, simple: dealers, installers, advisors, and customers to some extent as well. So they even wanted to reach out a little bit to B2C to feed B2B, with multiple content types, inspiration guides, checks, tests, trainings, business advice, all of these things in multiple countries in about 12 languages as well, with distinct needs per profession for those personas. And this is what we built. We built a centralized platform, one web hub for all audiences, um, one unified data layer where website, email, social, ads, they were all flowing to HubSpot as a CDP. So we used HubSpot basically as a central data hub for this. We had smart scoring with data aggregation rules, personalization algorithms, so that every visit, every page view, every email, every personal contact we had, because there was a lot of face-to-face connection as well. We had representatives going through customers, going to prospects as well on a daily basis. It made sure that we had living personas per visitor. And then the dynamic content was in all the systems, was in the website, was in the app, was in socials, with featured content tailored to your persona. The voice adapted to the way you consumed content. And the structure, the CTAs, they were all personalized. And we had a performance feedback loop. All the data fed back into multiple dashboards. We refined it ourselves. We let the AI refine it. We cross-checked both systems, and then we said, look, this is the approval. This is what we're doing next. This is how we're building this better in the future. The results, yeah, we went from generic emails to personal conversations with one additional hire as well here. CTR plus 45%, production time minus 50%. The campaign variants were basically unlimited. We had a one-on-one personalization with 100% coverage. We checked it. The cost per campaign went down 40%, and there was one FTE added. It's exactly what they wanted. The results were there, and this is just the results from a campaigning perspective and how it is done. But because of this, revenue, um, lead to close time, order value, they all improved um, very nicely over the course of 2 years in this. So, of course, we still need to learn as well. What have we learned from what we've done? We've made some mistakes. We've tried to let AI generate freely. It didn't work. I'm going to just show this item. It went off brand. It was inconsistent. And we use strict brand voice training, strict guardrails now, and we constantly do test runs to see how much it tries to go outside of those guardrails. And basically, most AI tools are like little kids. They constantly try to test the boundaries that they have. They constantly try to break those boundaries. So we need to be aware of that constantly. We overcomplicated scoring. Too many signals. It created noise. We focus on a set of key dimensions now. And if all of these things deliver clear results, we add extra dimensions step by step. Personalization is a step-by-step trajectory. You don't go in full-blown personalization from the first step because there is no room for learning. We built a lot of custom integrations with all these different systems. While sometimes, or in a lot of cases, this might be a good idea, it was a maintenance nightmare in this case because a lot of these AI toolings, they constantly evolve. APIs constantly break. So now we use standardized APIs, standardized MCP controls within our own existing AI orchestration layer, Bonsai, to make sure that it works perfectly. We also tried to launch everything at once. It overwhelmed the team because still someone needs to check it. Someone needs to control it. Someone needs to brief it. Someone needs to validate it. And we do phased rollouts now. We prove value early and then we build on that. So we're not sending out personalized emails to 100,000 people at a time. We do tests with smaller subsets and then we build on that. And the first parts that we did, we skipped the feedback loop. We thought it's nice. It's going well. The results are improving. Let's continue in this. But the system didn't improve. So we improved the results in an early stage, and then we hit the plateau. It didn't improve anymore. It stayed high. It stayed good, but it didn't got better over time. Again, zero touch doesn't mean zero thinking. You still need to design your systems right. You still need to make sure that someone's taking control of that. See it as your self-driving car. There's a lot of videos on YouTube or on Instagram about self-driving cars going haywire. It's the same thing here. The human needs to be in control. Before we move to the Q&A, I have a small checklist that you can do for yourselves. Are you ready to personalize towards the audience of one? Is all customer data acceptable in one place or via APIs? Do you have a clear persona or scoring model? Can your AI tools communicate with each other or do they act separately? Do you have a documented brand voice AI can learn from? If you don't know your own company or your own strengths, how can AI know them? Is there a feedback loop from campaigns back to data? And do you analyze and feedback that data in your next campaign? And Have you thought or do you have guardrails defined for AI generated content? If you have more than three no's in this list, the first step is going to be the orchestration layer before you add more tools, more AI tools. So, data centralized in one place is the very basis of it all. But if you have more than three no's, first think about the architecture before you start thinking about personalization. To conclude on this, the audience of one isn't a dream. It's an architectural decision that is feasible for a whole lot of companies. You don't need to be Netflix, but you need to think like Netflix. One customer, one profile, one experience powered by a system that scales, unifies, and does the grunt work for you while you stay in control. And that is how we reach hyper personalization via the audience of one. Thanks for your time. I'll move over to the chat to check the questions right now. Just give me some time. Um, okay, no questions so far on the content of the system. So either it's too complex or it's all clear for you. So if there's any questions that you might have in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm easily findable on LinkedIn. Oh, one question from Anna Rose. What were the campaign elements created by AI during the use case? Well, there were quite a few things created. So we created website copy for those multiple personas. We also created, we did a couple of tests or multiple tests with emails, both just the content that was created and the full HTML rollout. And we quickly moved over to full HTML because we fed it with a framework, an HTML framework that it had to fill in based on the generations. And it could easily be injected in the automation platform via data tables. Also making sure that the automation marketeers, the email marketeers, didn't have to put in 500 separate emails themselves. It was already existing in the system. So the segmentation was done by them, and then the system did the output. So that was the main part of it. We've also used AI to take a look at the advertising campaigns and propose content there. But the main focus was website content and email content because there was so much personalization there. And that was basically the personalization of the inspiration platform was basically the most important thing in the briefing. Joshua, how does personalization happen on a website, for example, by use of this framework? Does AI create hundreds of pages by itself? Yes, there's different ways. Either we create personalization separately, we create the content, we set up the rules in the personalization framework. That's an option. Another thing that we've done before. For a Dutch website, basically where every prompt or every search that you put in into the website is first checked in the website. Does this already exist? If it doesn't exist, the AI instantly creates the page with the answer to that specific question. It creates a website page that fits nicely in the structure, that also fits in the website architecture, and is basically completely ready for SEO and GEO indexation. And the same is something that we've done with the customer agent in HubSpot, where every new question that is asked to a customer service department via email or via live chat is automatically added into a list to create an FAQ page in the knowledge base. So there's always multiple roads to one destination, and it all depends on what the customer actually wants. So that's also part of it. Analyze, structurize, make sure that the way you do this or the way that it's set up matches the way you want to do it. If you get hundreds and thousands of questions in your live chat every month, it might be too much, and you might need an extra system to prioritize. Um, but if we take a look at the customer service example, nobody in a customer service team has time to create FAQ pages. Nobody has time to update the knowledge base. By having something like the HubSpot customer agent, which in this case is built into HubSpot and then completely branded and taught on the brand voice, it saves a lot of time from the people who should be doing it, and it also saves a lot of frustration from within the company and from the users because it's created very fast, and it highly improves all service metrics because we can also use it in automated ticket responses. I still see Joshua typing something. I'm going to wait for a couple seconds more. If there's no other questions aside from that, I want to thank you all for your attendance. Recording will be shared. Reach out to me if you need anything from me. I'll gladly go into some more detail on this. And have a nice day. Thanks for attending. Hope to see you all soon. Bye.